Hello everybody, I'm Cody,
I'm Eric.
and today we got kind of a special one for you on episode 5 of Eye on Industry podcast. Not very often do we have this many Ducatis in the shop to be serviced all at once, and today we actually have that. So we thought it'd be good to show you why different manufacturers make different models of motorcycles and why they do it. So I figured we would kind of go in depth on that, because a lot of people don't understand that not every motorcycle is going to suit what you want it to do, and one may be better suited than the other. And we're going to kind of explain, kind of show that with these 3 different models from Ducati about why one may work better for you than the other. Eric can definitely know more about that than me.
Yeah, so with the Ducatis here, obviously we have this 1098. So if you're into sport bike riding, performance riding, actually all 3 of these fit performance riding. This is more along the lines of road race, okay? So if you're into that and the riding style, the way that it's set up, dry clutch and everything, as far as street to street, heavy traffic, probably not what you would choose. However, still with a whole lot of performance in mind, maybe we go to the Monster. Monster is more of what they call a naked bike, right? Naked bike has got a wet clutch. It's a little bit more suited for in-town riding. Doesn't have all of the low slung bodywork, a little bit less of an aggressive riding position, still makes a lot of power, still has excellent braking system on it, still has fully adjustable suspension on it, so it turns good, brakes good, runs good. Now, let's say that you want something a little more diverse than that. You want something that is fun to ride in town, yet maybe you want to do a little bit of light off-road exploration. Well, then in general, you might go to something like the Hypermotard. So this one actually is outfitted with street radials. So this individual is into more street riding than any kind of on-off-road riding. However, there are still tire manufacturers that offer different percentages of on and off-road that will fit this motorcycle, increase its diversity. But it's also great to just ride in town. Little bit less power, but air-cooled, a little more user-friendly than some of the other higher horsepower motorcycles.
Also, a very fun bike on the track though, too.
It is. Any of these motorcycles are great track day motorcycles.
Without a doubt. Now, maintenance-wise, are all about the same, probably.
They are. The air-cooled motorcycle is a little less problematic. Actually, all of them are not problematic. It's less in depth with the air-cooled motorcycle than it is with the water-cooled bikes. And if you wanted to go in ease of maintenance, the air-cooled bike is going to be the least amount of problems. Then the bike without any body work is going to be next, even though it's water cooled. All right, it's a little bit more in depth than the Hypermotard, and then the sport bike, where we have to take all the body work off of it. You have a lot of other things that you have to have off of the motorcycle in order to perform the maintenance. So again, it's a trade-off. You might trade off horsepower for ease of maintenance. You might trade off horsepower for what you're going to use the motorcycle for, like we've talked about in the past.
Right, and comfortability, you know. So the thing with the 1098 here, it's a fantastic bike,
Sure
but
it is.
you have to, I want to demonstrate for you why it may not be the best bike for you, especially if you're street riding. And this is the reason why here. I am 5'10", 220, I'm a fairly big guy. So this already is very uncomfortable for me. All my weight's on my hands holding this bike up at the stop sign. Now, you can sit up if you want. It's not always a good idea, because you never know if you gotta quickly get in a gear, someone's coming up from behind you. If you're on a hill, going downhill, you can't do this. You're gonna have to have the hold of that front brake. So you're locked in this position. I gotta be careful, I got my belt buckle here. And when you are riding the bike, you're more like this most of the time. You're actually really tucked in, and this is the actual correct position to be riding this bike. So yeah, I can come up like this, but even then there's still a lot of pressure holding on my wrist and my shoulders, while this is more relaxing but more in control. That is one thing about this bike that for me personally, I would not buy it for the street, for the track all day long, or the occasional ride across town. It's even the seat isn't it's not real comfortable. But like I said, you're not designed to be comfortable. This is designed for speed. This is designed for handling, low slung, going. To me, it's probably one of the most beautiful bikes ever made. The 1098 is a gorgeous machine. It has a unique sound to it. Also keep in mind, when you go with a dry clutch, unfortunately the battery's dead, so I can't start this for you. But the dry clutch makes a lot of noise. It's super loud. It's a lot clicky, 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 click. It's open, you're gonna hear it. While with the wet clutch, you're not gonna have that issue. So if you don't like a lot of unique sounds coming from your motorcycle, again, the dry clutch is not for you. Now, with the Monster here, I'm gonna show you the difference and why I actually would love this bike for me on the street. There's a few reasons. Reason number one is pretty much every naked bike I've ever ridden, the bars are designed kind of like this, to where you're not as scrunched up. It's more comfortable. I could ride this down the highway like this easily and be comfortable. Now if I want to get dumb and be like crazy, and you can tuck yourself in. But the bars are a little bit wider than they would be the 1098R. They're not down low, they're up higher, puts you in a little bit more relaxed position. This is a more easy riding bike in the street. Now it's still got a lot of power, it's got a lot of torque, but it's more manageable. And it's just there, and it's easier to work on, like he said. It's a naked, there's no fairings. A lot of times insurance is also cheaper on a naked bike than on a full fairing bike too. It's less that the company has to pay for it, and say you happen to wreck it.
Now let's talk about the happy medium with the air-cooled bike, but still having a dry clutch.
Yes.
All right, so the Hypermotard is a very user-friendly motorcycle in the way that it develops power, makes power. Still though, has a dry clutch. So everybody's wondering, or they're already pounding on their keyboards about dry clutches. Look, here's the fact of the matter. If you have a dry clutch, you're in heavy traffic, you're stopped for a long period of time, you need to put it in neutral and not have the clutch in with it, okay? Another deal you have to deal with on a dry clutch is that you need to take this cover off. Even the 1098 that has the vented cover, you're going to get a lot of clutch material built up in there. You have to take it apart and you have to clean it, and it is messy. It's very messy, all the time messy. It is what it is.
Yeah, because even though it's a dry clutch, it still rides on the bearing. There's still a bearing turning it, and you don't want that debris getting the bearing and ruining that bearing, because then it becomes an expensive job.
If it packs up, it squeaks and they
Yep.
chatter, and it's not fun, okay? But the air-cooled engine actually requires a little less maintenance. But let's get over this misnomer of the Ducatis, because you're already pounding on your keyboards saying that they're hard to work on and they're maintenance queens. Actually, all motorcycles that are abused are maintenance queens. I don't care what they are. All three of these motorcycles, not babied, but actually not overwound on a regular basis, actually run extremely long periods of time without having any kind of belt or valve lash issue.
Yep, exactly. And the cool thing about this in the naked is you can actually see the chassis and the frame, while usually with the full fairing bikes it's all hidden. It's a unique extra feature of the naked. And with this, now this isn't the factory bars, but again, this is more of a wider upright bar, puts you more comfortable position. This allows you to really heave and throw this thing around in the corners.
Yeah, sit on it and we'll look at the difference in this versus the naked sport bike and then the pure sport bike.
So let me put it here. There you go. So I'm already almost upright. I got a little bit of a angle to me, but for the most part I am upright from the get-go. And now when you're riding this, you can lean into it and really toss this around. The bar is at the right position that the push-pull is easy, and where the foots are at, the foot controls are at, I can actually push. So I can push and really get that bike to go into the corner. It's got the high ground clearance, which will allow me to do a little more crazy with it in the corners at a little bit lower speed. So there's a few different things you can do with it. So, and like I said, with it, you can go off-road with it, or like this customer did, he went with the street tires, which will allow him to have fun on the street. This is a fantastic street bike.
It is, and you can still go to track days, still have a lot of fun. The misnomer is that being since it's tall, that it's top heavy and it won't turn good, and that's absolutely not true. But now you're asking, okay, so you've shown all three of these motorcycles, why have we shown you this? The why we are showing you this is the diversity within brands, not just Ducati. We chose Ducati because we have the diversity of models to show you, but all other, with the exception of maybe kind of Harley Davidson, but rest of the manufacturers, Aprilia, Triumph, Ducati, MV Agusta, the big four, they all have a huge diversity of motorcycles that are along this same styling. What you need to do is, when you're looking for a motorcycle, new or used, take the time to go and sit on the different types of motorcycles. You may find that you maybe balked at a motorcycle before, and once you've sat on it, possibly even test rode it, it may change your mind and you may actually find a motorcycle that fits your needs a lot better.
Yeah, do some research, talk to the salesman, and make sure you're buying the bike that's correct for you. We already kind of said that. Now, don't get us wrong, we're not trying to talk you out of buying a 1098 or a Panigale. They're fantastic machines, they really are. They're just, that bike's not suited for everybody for the street. Maybe you are more comfortable on that bike than the Monster. You know, go sit on it, and if you're really serious, talk to the salesman, maybe go ride it. All three of these can be taken to the track, and all three can be ridden on the street. And this one has the ability to go street and off-road if you have the correct tires. That's the difference between this one and the other two for sure. We just think that this one and the Monster is more user-friendly for the street. That's all we're saying. But everybody's different. Everybody rides different. Everybody's comfortable in different ways. So you know, just go ride them.
Yeah, you've got guys that have videos that's like, only stupid people buy this, or I don't know why you'd ever buy this, or don't buy this motorcycle because it'll kill you. All right, there's a lot of fear mongering out there, and there's a lot of guys with way too much testosterone and got their chest poked way out. Look, don't buy it, okay? Don't buy into what they're trying to tell you. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Take the time, go sell on motorcycles, ride different motorcycles, test ride different motorcycles, keeping in mind you have to have an M endorsement in your state if you're required to have a motorcycle license. Don't get upset if you go in a dealership and you're not allowed to test ride a motorcycle.
Yeah, make sure you take boots and jeans and a helmet. Don't
wear Crocs or flip-flops or something.
I don't know any shop that's gonna let you ride, any dealership doesn't let you ride if you don't have pants and you don't have boots on. We'll give you a quick story about why we're talking about sitting on a different bike and riding. And actually this happened today with us. We had a customer come in. Actually both of these are for sale, they're consignment bikes. So he came in, he used to ride a GSXR 600 back in the day. And he had it set up more like the 1098. It's super low, long, the clip-on handlebars down low. And he said, you know, when he was younger, He loved the bike. It was a lot of fun, but now he's not comfortable with the bike like that. He wants to be more comfortable. So he went and rode an Indian FTR. He liked it. He came in and rode the Ducati Monster, and he really liked it. But he said that this bike would probably give him too much trouble, because it's got too much power, and he wouldn't have known that if he didn't come in and sit on it and ride it. So there are things he loved about the bike, but even in his mind he knew that maybe too much power. And some bikes do have too much power for certain people, but you have to go ride them and sit on them to see that for yourself.
Keeping in mind that power doesn't always equal cost. Motorcycles, I'll let it pass. So motorcycles that make less power are still within the same price range, but don't get hung up on peak power numbers like we talked about before. It needs to be more user friendly and fit you better. Worry about that more than any kind of peak horsepower, especially horsepower in a range that you can't ride the motorcycle out on the street anyway.
Yeah, you got to make sure you get a bike that's within your riding capability. The thing is, the Monster 1200S, it's going to be out of a handful. It's going to be out of, if you're a new rider, it's not the bike for you. It's not. 1098 is definitely not for a new beginner. I'm sure people are like, you're wrong what we're talking about. Listen, I'm just speaking from our experience, all right? But with enough years of riding and a couple of years of riding, get used to it, then those bikes are maybe up your alley. He knew he could manage the power, and that he would enjoy the power, but he would enjoy it too much to where it would get him tickets and get him in trouble. And he was mature enough to know that, and that's why he walked away from it.
Yeah, he said when he test rode it, he was trying to keep it within the speed limit. He was riding the motorcycle and was enjoying the motorcycle, having a lot of fun, and found out that this motorcycle doesn't seem like it's going as fast as it is. That happens, especially with really good motorcycles, chassis-wise and suspension-wise, okay?
Yeah. And
he was speeding, and he'd slow down, and then he would just get into enjoying the ride. He's speeding again, speeding again, speeding again. And he said that some of the other motorcycles, he had more feel of keeping the motorcycle within the speed limit. This one right here, you exceeded the speed limit, and he said it would sneak up on him. Again, that's just responsibility of the rider.
Yeah, that's just him knowing that this is too much. And maybe down the road he'd be ready for a bike like that. But he's making the smart choice and moving to something that he's going to be more comfortable with and enjoying instead of worrying about going too fast.
Well, that's kind of in a nutshell. There's more diversity than that in all of manufacturing. Again, like we talked about before, this is a very large net that we're casting, and it's intended to get you to think and get you to do research.
100%. And I said, don't be afraid to ask questions when you go look at bikes and do your research. All bikes are different. All bikes have different models for a reason. We just gradually touched on why they do that. We just easily go into an hour-long video, highly in-depth with each bike and what the pros and cons are, and what it actually was developed for. We're not going to do that. You can do enough of that research on your own if you really wanted to. We just want to show you kind of the differences of the same person on each bike and how you look on it and how you're going to fit on it.
Look at the diversity within each manufacturer. See if that diversity fits you. That's always important.
100%. 100% always. And maybe Ducati's not for you. Maybe you're a Yamaha guy. Well, guess what? Yamaha has a version of each of these bikes.
Sure, absolutely.
Same thing in Kawasaki, and Triumph, and Suzuki, and Honda, and Aprilia. They each have different versions of these bikes. So don't feel like we're trying to sell you on a certain brand. This is just what we have. So
exactly.
Well, alrighty.
Those guys love to share.
They love to share. I think we've done enough with this, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us in the comments. We'll be happy to help you out. And next time, you all ride safe.